Good afternoon, sir.
All right, I'm Sergeant Frazier, and my mentor today is Major Lovejoy. He's agreed to let me come in and teach this class for a little bit, and so that's what we're going to do. All right, you will see the dog walking around, so please just ignore him. I just need him just for my medical issues, and we're going to get started, and we're going to talk about early India and China. All right, the first thing that we have today, though, is I have bell work. So you're all familiar with bell work, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what I want you to do is go ahead and take about 5 minutes or so, and I want you to answer these questions. All right, make sure that you answer them in complete sentences, and then I'm also going to have a discussion after 5 minutes, and we are going to have you prepared to defend your answer for these questions, okay? All right, and begin.
Has anyone already solved for question 1?
Okay, good. All right, so question number 1, we'll go with, what's your name?
Cadet Hoyt.
Cadet Hoyt. So Cadet Hoyt, so where is Mesopotamia located?
Southwest Asia.
Southwest Asia? Okay. All right, do you know between what countries or the general area?
The world. Sorry, I'm trying. It says so Mesopotamia is, I don't remember where, I just know from like right here in the excerpt where it says Neolithic Southwest Asia. The world's first farming settlements appeared in a section of the northeast called the Levantine Corridor. It included the valleys of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers called Mesopotamia by ancient Greeks.
Good, yes. Your name?
Stanger.
Cadet Stanger, okay?
It's located between, it connects Egypt to Turkey.
Yes, good. And yes, sir.
I have the answer for number 2.
Okay, good. So what allowed the first people in the Fertile Crescent area to stop being nomads?
Their ability to perform irrigation on the fertile soil to let them have a surplus amount of food to have them start doing more careers such as making tools and weapons so that they can expand on that.
Okay, so who can tell me what a nomad is? Yes, sir.
I am Cadet Neville, and the nomads were people who would just go around gathering berries and foraging for food and doing whatever they could to barely live.
Okay, good. And so why do you think that having the Fertile Crescent, why do you think that kind of helped create them to have to stop moving around so much?
It allowed them to actually breed animals, and so that they weren't constantly just looking for food, and to irrigate and farm so that they could branch off and do other things and build.
Cool, good. All right, question number 3. Yes, ma'am. Name, please.
Cadet Arguello, sir.
Okay.
It would be the Hammurbi's Law Code created by Emperor Hammurbi.
Good, thank you. All right, good. All right, we're going to go to the next one. We're going to talk about our learning objectives for today. So the things that we're going to do is we're going to talk about the 3 modern nations and then where they started from, their root, and civilization. And then we're also going to talk about the Han River, which is in China. And then we're also going to compare the Chinese mandate of the heaven principle with that of the Egyptian gods and kings. All right, so go ahead and take a look here on the slide. And this is an introduction to early India. So let me have, what is your name, sir?
Quintanilla.
Quintanilla? Okay. Cadet Quintanilla, can you please go ahead and read our first bullet?
A third civilization surpassing both Egypt and Sumer in land or area, developed in the Indus River Valley far to the east in South Asia.
Good, good. Ma'am, could you please read our next bullet?
It reached its heights at about the time of the Akkadian and Babylonian empires between about 2500 and 1500 BCE.
Okay, and ma'am, could you read our last bullet?
Three modern nations, India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, trace their cultural roots to the Indus River Valley.
Good, thank you. Okay, the Indus River Valley civilization. Less than a century ago, archaeologists working in the valley of the Indus River first identified an ancient civilization on the subcontinent of South Asia. They dated this early civilization to about 2500 BCE, that's before Common Era, and named the two settlements Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. And so this is just kind of a picture of what the valley looks like. Okay, so these two cities were perfect examples of urban planning. They had typically located citadel, or the center of the city. The streets were planned evenly spaced and crossed at right angles. And every house had at least one bathroom with drains and chutes leading to a sewer system. That is crazy. That's in 2500 BCE. So even before we had, this is actually before the Romans. They had aqueducts and they had water and sewage in their homes. So, can you give me an example, anyone, of a common city that has street planning and evenly spaced, you know, kind of like this? Yes.
Isn't New York one?
Yes, New York is. Yes. So let's go a little bit more closer to us.
Maybe downtown Salt Lake.
Yes, downtown Salt Lake. Downtown Salt Lake is a prime example of what they had here in Harappa and the Mohenjo-daro. All right, let me get someone to go ahead and read this first bullet. Yes, ma'am.
Linguists or scholars who study languages have yet to decipher the Harappan inscribed pictograms.
Okay, and the next slide, or next bullet. Yes, sir.
Without a written record, it is difficult to study the civilization, but archaeologists have found an excess number of toys and no weapons.
The Harappans worshiped gods associated with natural resources such as animals and elements. The civilization disappeared about 1500 BCE with no clues as to why. Okay. Gotta be smarter than the equipment you're operating. All right. Okay, early China. Sir, could you please read the first bullet?
Yes. For many centuries, the Chinese lived in relative isolation from the rest of the world.
Good. Ma'am, can you read the next one?
The lack of outside context led the Chinese to develop one culture across many regions and a strong sense of national identity.
And sir, or ma'am, sorry, right there.
Me?
Yes,
Oh.
sir, yeah. If you can read that.
As a result, China has the oldest continuous civilization in the world.
Good. All right. Okay, the Hung River. The Hung River flows more than 2,900 miles from the northern highlands eastward, and it empties into the Yellow Sea. The abundance of yellow silts suspended in the river gives it the name of the Yellow River. The deposits of silt that the flooding Hong River also brings has transformed North China Plain into rich farmland. So just a quick side note, I was in Korea in 2014, and once a year we have, once the winds kick up, everything in Korea turns yellow. And one of the reasons why it turns yellow is because of this yellow silt that comes from the Han River. It flows all the way over, gets up in the clouds, and it goes all the way over to Korea. That and a lot of pollution and other things though. But it turns everything yellow. There's a fine yellow dust on everything. Kind of like here when we get the pollen season. you know, and then you get a lot of that pollen dust all over everything. Kind of the same thing in Korea, except for it's much worse. Much worse. Okay, let's talk about the Shang Dynasty. So archaeologists find date the first settlements back to 500 BCE. The first historical dynasty to be dated from written records in China is the Shang Dynasty. One noble of the Shang family, named Tang, roused others of his class in a successful rebellion against the ruling king. The Dang Dynasty founded the Shang, ruled China from 1700 to 1000 BCE. Let me get someone to go ahead and read this bullet point. Let's go over, because you've all read. Yeah. Can you read for me, please? What's your name, sir?
So my name is Cadet Hendricks.
Okay, Cadet Hendricks.
So, many centuries of dynasties. From the beginning of its recorded history until present century, dynasties have ruled China. Okay.
All right. So these Chinese believe that their rulers govern according to a principle known as the mandate of heaven. So what do you think the mandate of heaven is? Yes.
It'd probably be like heavenly laws.
Okay. Good. Yes, sir.
A set of guidelines that were probably believed to be handed down from the gods to govern humanity.
Okay. All right. Good. So if the rulers were just and effective, they continued their dynasty. If not, it could be taken away from them. So that is what they called their mandate of heaven. And that would be the end of our slides. All right, so thank you for your time. Thank you for letting me present this to them.